Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. Again, it's middle of winter. We've got a lot of safer ice being formed, if you can call ice safe. And so there's a lot of ice fishing that's going on right now. And as I travel along our area, I'm seeing almost villages of ice huts emerging out there on some of the favorite spots. Now that people can have a little bit more security in feeling that the ice is becoming thicker. But I want to talk about another thing that takes place this time of the year, and that is you're picking tackle or going through the tackle you have and trying to select something special for next year. And it's always a quandary in how do you pick I'm going to use spinning right now because that's what I do, but how do you pick a spinning rod? There's tons of them out there. You can pick a cheap one or an expensive one. But what is the most important thing that you should look at? And I'll tell you what I think. I think that the most important aspect of your choice should be comfort. And how comfortable is it for you to use that rod all day long if you're going to fish for long hours? And so what do we look at in a rod's design that will lead to its comfort? And this is really important. And I'm going to tell you something. Years ago, Outdoor Life asked me if I would be their person to go in their magazines to select the best fishing rods and reels of the year. And so I was honored that they chose me. But here's what I take away from that. And I handled every single company's rods. And as I did that, I got to really feel there really is a big difference in one rod to another. And the thing that stood out to me the most after handling all these different rods was the design of their handles. The handle is where your hand goes on the rod all day long. It's on that handle. So the design of how it's formed, whether there's stress points or not, that would start causing discomfort and pain in your hand if it wasn't designed right. And I know this sounds crazy because there's how much can you do to the design of a rod handle? But there really is. The texture, the shape, and, there's so much involved there. There really is. Even how the reel attaches, the threads that tighten it down. Will they stick into your hand? What is the material they use? Is it cork, or is it something else that they feel would be better for your hand? I think this is a huge part. And the only way you're going to know, you're never going to know if you buy a rod online. The only way you're going to know is to handle it before you buy it. You'll get a feel. The other thing is how that rod balances. The way, the type of graphite or fiberglass they use, and how the taper is made, and therefore how it balances in your hand. And this is a big deal. If you just hold it loosely in your hand and the rod tip falls down to the ground immediately, then it's balanced, I think, too far to the front. You want it to kind of almost balance perfectly, that if you weren't to grab onto it and hold it there, it would just sort of float there in your hand. That would be perfect balance. And of course, what else are we looking for? I think if you're using the rod a lot, if you're casting, if you're doing that kind of fishing, you want it to be as light as possible. The lighter your tackle can be and still perform the way you want it to is really critical. So picking a light rod, and a lot of times as the rod gets more expensive, they're using a higher density graphite that tends to be lighter. You don't have as much glue and other fillers in it. And so, again, you might get what you pay for. And you want to use as light a reel as you can. If you don't use real heavy line, or if you don't need to cast real heavy line a long distance, then a smaller reel is going to work better. Because in most of our fishing, we don't need something that powerful. The power is really coming from the rod. It's coming from our arm. And the reel is just sort of controlling the drag. So these are thoughts as you look forward to the new year. You might enjoy fishing even more if you can pick the right balanced rod for your own particular fishing needs. Until next time, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.